space, the final frontier. These are the podcasts of the Starfleet Night Shift, our continuing mission to discuss strange new worlds, TM, to review Star Trek in all its iterations, to boldly talk about Trek we've all seen before. Excellent echo. Thank you, Azure. Are we good? Yeah, we are. Welcome, everyone. Can you all hear me? Audio working? Check, check. Cameras working? Everything working right at the beginning? Who even is this crew of the Night Shift? Improvement.
Wow, we're so much more professional over here on the STO side of things.
Oh, God. We are just so professional here. Welcome, everyone, to the Night Shift podcast. Some say P.A.D.cast. P.A.D.D.
One says.
One says. Maybe just Captain Merrick says that. Anyway, in the upper right-hand corner, it is I, Captain Merrick. To my upper left, Chief Jennifer. I'm pointing the right direction. Wrong direction. Chief Jennifer in the upper left. And, of course, Science Officer Azure in the bottom right. And guess what? Guess who's in the bottom left? That's you. That's you, dear viewer. The chat is in the bottom left, represented by none other.
That's Peanut Hamper.
Than Peanut Hamper, who of course has the most mathematically perfect name. You guys will have all of your chat featured down there in the bottom left. If you have any questions specifically about Star Trek or the podcast, please throw them out, interact, pose trivia, anything you like, as long as it's about Star Trek, we will interact with you guys. This is also a gaming streaming channel, so we do that on other days, but today is going to be completely dedicated to Star Trek, the fandom we all know and love. Super good. Maple says another stream. Who are you? I know. Also, Game Spree, thank you for the follow. Really appreciate it. And Venwick, I love you, buddy. Hopefully you saw your name in the Ko-Fi supporters list. Super good to see you, man. Really glad you're here. So everyone, welcome. We're back every single Saturday. The crew of the USS Night Shift comes and brings you another podcast about Star Trek, the franchise, the online game, the 10 bajillion episodes spanning 56 years of a sci-fi franchise that has basically shaped everything. And so we basically do a different topic every week, just sort of free form it and let it go. What is so cool about us making the podcast right now is that there is more to talk about in the realm of Trek than there ever has been in the history of Star Trek to begin with. In all 56 years, there are so many shows on the air, things coming down the pipeline, a news cycle that is never ending. It is getting very exciting to be a Star Trek fan. And one of the things that I thought we could kick it off with. Now, this is sort of follows up on the episode we had last week, sort of really delved into the dichotomy between classic Star Trek and modern Star Trek, the new series that have been out, and sort of our transition as fans, our reluctance to like change because of, I don't know, being old and yelling at children to get off grass. I don't know, something like that. It has changed. And so we basically ended up having a really nuanced discussion about how that's happened. And I think the best case to study in terms of that is Star Trek Picard. Star Trek Picard was definitely really truly embodied, I think, this dichotomy between the old Trek and new Trek, because it literally is a return to a very beloved old Trek, which, as I mentioned last week, I really truly believe is the Trek in which all other Trek is compared. TNG really set the tone, set the stage, however you like to put it, and it's really true. And this is basically bringing it back into modern day, into modern Trek, and seeing just how much has changed in terms of storytelling, the characters, the way that society's sort of mirror works with Star Trek in current day. So it's really fascinating. And of course, season 1 and season 2, maybe a bit of a pill to swallow for some, but season 3 is what I'd like to talk about today. Season 3 is going to air on Junie's birthday, by the way, February 16th, in a few months.
That's exciting.
Just found that out. That's exactly when that comes out. It's very exciting. There's a lot to look forward to, and a lot of us who have maybe been a little bit more reluctant to embrace the new Trek or the big change are basically running into an internal conflict about how much incredible hype there is about this new season. It looks amazing. You guys have seen the trailer. What do you think? First impressions? How does it look?
Incredible.
That's good.
Incredible. I mean, if you want more, I can give you more.
Expound a bit.
Upon that?
First of all, they opened strong with like the classic Star Trek like intro playing.
Yes.
I am super pumped about the return, especially of Worf. I love Michael Dorn.
Oh
Worf
man.
coming back, and the lines in the trailer from him and Riker are great. Like when he's like,
Aren't they though?
"I should like I forget exactly how he phrases it, but like I should let you know I prefer pacifism now." And then Riker, as they beam out, is just like, "Oh, we're all gonna die." Like it's so like you can
Yes.
just feel the chemistry between the cast again right away. Which, no offense to Picard seasons 1 and 2, and it was a whole different crew. It wasn't
It
the
was.
crew of the Enterprise D,
No.
but like it just you never felt the TNG chemistry with Picard, and maybe that was intentional, right? Like the characters are going through very different storylines. It's a darker time, blah blah blah. But immediately watching that trailer, I could feel like the love between the characters, like Worf, Riker, Beverly Crusher, Geordie LaForge. The
Yeah,
other
that's
thing I'm
right.
super pumped about is LeVar Burton's daughter playing Geordie LaForge's daughter.
Oh man, are you kidding? That's
Super
incredible.
excited.
I love that. And as we mentioned, we just briefly last week, we sort of touched on the fact that there was like a cool cameo where Patrick Stewart's son played Captain Picard's son in the episode Inner Light in TNG. This is really like continuing that tradition, and I just absolutely love that. In fact, some of the lines that LeVar gives in that is like, you know, my time back then made me a better husband, a better father. Like there's this connection thing there that I really like. And I want to say, yes, it's true in season 1 and season 2, they just don't have that camaraderie, that sense of family, right? That I'm always talking about when it comes to TNG, or any of the classic Treks. They always feel like such a close-knit family that you want to be a part of. There is one brief moment of it, and it really was a tease in the first season of Picard when we were all still very excited on board. And it was when Patrick Stewart and Jonathan Frakes are sitting on the dock, right? When he
Yep.
first goes and sees him. And that's a wipe a tear from your eye moment, man. I mean, it's an incredibly well done scene, an incredibly amazing setting that they put themselves in. But it is very overshadowed by all of the big bad drama that sort of happens throughout the show. I do want to take a moment to say what's up, Severance, and goodbye, Severance. I'm very sorry. I should say ahead of time that there are definitely going to be spoilers in this discussion in all of our podcasts. The theory is that most people that are here talking about this either it's going to be so far away for them by the time they get to this point that they don't really care, or they're already up to date on Star Trek. But at least for today, I would say TNG and Star Trek Picard spoilers ahead for sure for anyone who is not ready.
I forgot that we're on Twitch this time and not YouTube, where we've announced this a lot.
Yes, that's
Yes.
true. So we might be getting a couple of different people in this time, but yeah. So Judy, what about you? Like, what was your take on Star Trek Picard season 1, season 2, and then what was your experience watching the trailers?
Well, I think actually I want to go in reverse.
Hi,
So
David.
I'll start with the trailer. Actually, I was excited to see that it seemed much more like camaraderie. Obviously, they got a lot of the old actors back that weren't there necessarily in as prominent roles in the first two seasons. So that was kind of exciting. I did really like to see that they came back with Moriarty in the trailer as well. I think that's going to be really fun. So I am tentatively excited, I guess you could say.
Tentatively.
I mean, because you never know what you're really going to get, right? Like, and for the first two Picards, they were very different. And you've mentioned this before. They didn't quite have that Star Trek feel to them. They're much more action based. It's more like maybe watching like a movie, like a space action movie. And that's fine
Drama.
for what it is, right? It's a space action drama. But it does seem like from the trailers for Picard season 3 that they are going in maybe a more lighthearted direction, just from the few scenes that I saw with like everybody on the bridge and things like that. So I'm very hopeful, but we will see on the 16th.
Yes. Yes, we will. And I think that there's been moments where, like I said, that like the experience with that scene with Riker and Picard sitting on the dock and having that sort of moment in Picard, that was prevalent in the trailer, right? I mean, I that was when I was very excited, really on board the hype train for Star Trek Picard. It seemed like the greatest idea ever. It seemed like it was going to be sort of like the refreshing change of tone after Discovery, and I felt as though Picard, for its strengths and weaknesses, definitely delved even deeper, even more dramatically into that kind of storytelling than Discovery did. Discovery, I feel like, has a lot of action. There's a lot of action all the time. Picard is really sort of like introspectively dramatic a lot of the time. Even outside of just explosions, it's just a different tone of storytelling. When I saw the trailer this time, I'll admit to you, I've now looked at Picard as what it is. And for me, and I know Avatar Continuum, you are, I first of all, I missed your message earlier, the get off my bridge instead of get off my lawn, which is really apropos. I think that I know that you, Avatar, are a big fan of the new Star Treks, and I have come around to appreciate them for what they are. In fact, if you guys missed last week's podcast, we really delve into that. It was a really awesome, interesting discussion about sort of like that journey. But I think now I respect them for what they are, but I have to separate them from what I love. I can't go back and watch TNG or Voyager, and like I'm sort of going through Voyager again right now. I do it all the time, but
me too.
Yeah, right. So we always go through Trek. I think a lot of us hardcore Trekkies, we do that. So I can't go back through DS9 looking at 7 of 9, not DS9, Voyager, looking at 7 of 9.
I was confused.
I know. And thinking of Star Trek Picard the entire time. I can't do that. I can't watch TNG and look at Picard and hear all those speeches he makes about Starfleet and all that stuff, and then keep in mind Star Trek Picard. I cannot. So I will just tell you what I have done personally, and what that is that to me, these are like little ships in a bottle. All right, they are stories that are sort of in their own time frame, almost like a mirror universe or a alternate timeline or something like that. I know that it's wrong. I know that this is canon, but I in order to protect the experience that I have and be able to appreciate the new Trek, that is sort of like what I've come around to settling with. The season 3 trailer, however, rocked everybody, man. I mean, Justin, I don't know if he's here, but also Azure and Jennifer and I have all talked like immediately after seeing that trailer, like, oh my God, like I know we've had our feelings. We've had our thoughts about this stuff, right? But like, my God, that trailer is awesome. It gives all of the connection with all the characters that we've been wanting to see. I'm so excited to see them all back. By the way, can I just say they all look great? Don't they look good?
Yeah,
like I saw Michael Dorn looks amazing. Worf coming back looking awesome.
I'm actually a little jealous of how good he looks for his age.
Dude, the man is aging really well.
Kind of amazing.
The same is true of LeVar, man. Geordi looks like $1,000,000. I love the beard, like the white beard on him. He looks super distinguished. It's really good.
Well, I was also, someone in the Discord, I think it might have been Damon, was like posting about, oh, you're gonna get these characters back, but they're all like in their 70s or 80s, which actually I looked it up is only really Patrick Stewart and one other person are that old. Like Michael Dorn, Geordi, a couple of others are in their 60s. I mean,
right, because most of them were considerably younger in Next Generation.
I hadn't realized how young a lot of them were during Next Generation. Like, they were young actors.
They were. I know. Babyface Riker, man. Jonathan Frakes. I mean, he was young. I don't actually know the ages, but it's Babyface. And of course, even Wesley freaking Crusher, right? What did we say that he was? He was like 50 something. 50, he's in his 50s. Yeah, he's 50 years old. I mean, he looks great too, but it does drive home just how old that show is now. I think they just hit their 35th anniversary. Is it 35 for TNG?
Yeah, I think so, because it was 87, right?
Yes, yeah, 87, so 35. Mm-hmm.
But like, sorry, just real quick on Will Wheaton. I'm just mostly jealous because he looks better at 50 than I look now. And
yes,
give me your energy, Will Wheaton.
Same. I need that Wesley energy, man. So I mean, that was one of the greatest things about it, was just to see everyone's return It is devastating to me, of course, that Data, everything that happened with Data. And we don't have to go into spoilers. We don't need to. But basically Data's not around, and now through the trailers, we're seeing that lore has returned. There's one of a million things to be excited about in this. The ships that they saw, the cast and crew coming back together. Oh my god, dude, I just watched a short on YouTube that was basically just playing it over and over again in slow-mo so you can really see the ship. It is straight up the ship. In case you guys don't already play Star Trek Online, and of course that is what we are playing right now. We are actually in Earth Space Dock in Club 47 with our amazing view of Earth behind us. With a bunch of, I don't know, scantily clad dancers dancing back there.
Since you mentioned it, if you look a little bit to your right, you'll see Engie perched on an arch.
I just
there he
noticed
is.
that.
What's up, Engie? So, there's so many things to be excited about, but we, as huge fans of Star Trek Online, the MMORPG set in the Star Trek universe, this game, for the 15 years that there was no Star Trek, this game was really some of the only new content that was coming out in the universe of Star Trek. It has really become, I think, beloved in the eyes of anyone who's really a huge fan of Trek, because they've really got to continue storylines, or wrap up plot lines that were sort of left undone. We talk about it all the time, how awesome STO is. But, and we've mentioned it, guys, but it's more and more true all the time. STO is kind of canon. I mean, it's kind of becoming canon. They have used several ships from STO that the developers of this game, right, Arc or Cryptic Studios or whoever it is that ends up making it, Cryptic makes different ships in the realm of Star Trek, and the newest, the farthest in the future Star Trek ship, Enterprise, is the Enterprise F, and was created in Star Trek Online. And here in Star Trek Picard, they have now shown in Season 3, actual canon, the ship that was designed in STO as the new ship. This is the flagship, the new Enterprise, straight out of this video game, and it's maybe the coolest thing ever.
Would you say, though, that everyone considers it canon, or just that they take some things from STO and then put it into the shows?
So someone just asked in chat, and I was reading about this the other day. I'm pretty sure it's not officially canon.
It is not.
But they have done such a good job remaining consistent with everything in the Trek universe that it doesn't contradict canon.
I would even go as far as to say that STO has contradicted canon less than Star Trek's own shows in recent years. And have put more care into fitting in their storylines without bumping anything.
I absolutely love that. That's so cool. First of all, Standard Way, welcome to the stream. So glad you're here, man. It's STO Story, Star Trek canon. I mean, so here's how this ends up working, and this is why a lot of us Star Trek fans are really big fans of STO, and it's because Star Trek has been going on for so long. There's such a breadth of awesome content that has been over the last 56 years, and so many episodes or so many movies or little things leave breadcrumbs at the end of the episode, unfinished storylines. Maybe they'll return to it, maybe they won't. And there's so many things that are never fully explained. And what I love about STO is that STO takes everything that happened in Star Trek, which of course is canon both in Star Trek and in STO, and they expand upon it. The coolest things about this game involve it's taking the actual characters, the actual plot lines, the actual sort of mysteries, and returning to them, following up on the end of an episode where you're like, hey, I forgot about that. They never did anything. They never actually answered this question or whatever it is. This cliffhanger was never really addressed. STO does that. That's what they do. They pick up those threads, they write a whole story around it, and what lends so much credence to it is that they have the actual freaking actors of Star Trek come and reprise their characters in the game. To me, I believe it is so close. Like normally you would never say like this novel, even the novel verse, right? It's not canon. It's its own thing. Or any random video game is not canon. But I believe that in that debate, STO is closer to being able to at least be respected in a canonical way than almost any other game in a franchise that I've ever played, because it is, all the actors are here. The plot lines all start in Star Trek canon and then expand from there. And what's cool is that STO has always had kind of a cool relationship with CBS, right? Like if CBS is coming out with a new show, maybe they'll give like a heads up, give some plot stuff to STO, let them know, get to see the ships, make the models, all that stuff. So the relationship has been a positive one. And I think it's up to the fans individually to decide if it's canon enough for them. I'll tell you right now, for me, it is. I love it. I've never seen STO make a bad move, write something that I think was awful, let down the franchise, or is directly contradicted or whatever. It just kind of feels good to me. How do you guys feel about that? Do you feel differently?
No, I wanted to point out, and Jennifer already responded to it in chat, but Avatar Continuum had a good point where I consider STO soft canon until a TV show contradicts it. I like that.
Yeah. Wow. That's a good way to put that.
I don't even remember the point I was about to make. I wanted to follow up on the actors lending credence to it. I was just searching through our PMs in Discord, Merrick, and back on May, I don't know, 16th or something, I sent you a slew of PMs because I was just getting into the game or just getting further into the game at the time, and Nog showed up in the game for the first time for me, and I like lost my mind and sent you screenshots and was like all caps spamming.
Oh yeah, yes,
how excited
dude.
I was.
Yes. Which, I mean, and that's the beauty of it, right? Like these characters come back, these characters that you wish you could see what happened with them, which like STO gives us the opportunity to decide on our own. I choose to believe that Nog became a captain and a total badass. You know what I mean? That's so cool that you can do that. That STO like gives you the opportunity to do it. And especially, I think, really cool recently in STO because they've sort of returned with, because they're adding new voice actors from the shows all the time. Like Kate Mulgrew came back recently and did like a ton of stuff. So Janeway is up front and center in this game. And so, and then, so things are going forward in that way, but also people that we will never get to hear new stuff from again. We get to see all the time. STO has Leonard Nimoy doing voice acting in here, right? Passed away, very sad. We have Rene Auberjonois, right, who played Odo, got to do his bit in the Gamma Quadrant. Amazing reprisal of his phenomenal character, obviously, just before he passed, so really sad. Aaron Eisenberg, who was not only a huge fan of Trek, a huge fan of Nog, but a huge fan of Ferengi, came back and played his character in STO, always encouraging people to make Ferengi in STO, which I thought was very cool. So I don't know, man. I do think it's up to you, but
hashtag play a Ferengi.
Hashtag play a Ferengi. And I do think that it's cool that it's not even just the F. There's multiple ships now that we've seen. Discovery has shown a couple of ships in the 32nd century that ended up being, straight out of STO. So
did it go that direction? I didn't play STO until this past year.
Yes, the F is not the first ship that was taken from.
So some of the future ships existed here before Discovery showed them?
Yes.
I believe
that's really
so.
Cool.
Yeah. I believe that's the order that went in. You guys can fact check me in chat, but I am pretty sure that that's the way that went. Avatar says STO lore in which Nog lives, or DS9 season 8 writers reunion in which he dies. Well, actually, it's funny because you're talking about that. Yeah, go ahead, Azure.
I was going to say we have plans to talk about the What We Left Behind documentary because Merrick had been, I don't want to say pestering, reminding me frequently to watch it for a long time.
Shaking my fist.
I finally did, and I loved every minute of it. I've actually started rewatching it already, and I just saw it like 2 weeks ago.
So good. I mean, it's funny because I can't play it on stream because of the copyright, but in my head, it's just the Star Trek playlist still playing, and I hear right now DS9 theme is playing in my head. It's definitely the most. It tugs at my heartstrings the most. I think that's what that is. And so for me, that documentary, there's a bunch of good documentaries in the realm of Trek, by the way, that really give amazing insight. I highly encourage people to watch The Captains. If you haven't seen The Captains, that was a really good one. You get really like a good sit down discussion. It's almost like Shatner's raw nerve goes around and just interviews every captain of the Enterprise, which was really good. And he kind of has like Shatner kind of has like this transformative experience, sort of going from resenting Star Trek to finally appreciating everything it's done for him and embracing it and going to conventions, which he didn't do for forever. So that's really good. But What We Left Behind was such a life-changing documentary for me because there just wasn't a lot about DS9. DS9 just wasn't successful, not really successful back when it was actually coming out. It really became beloved now, like in the last 10 years, just because people have been able to basically binge it in order the way that it was meant to be watched. So they gained a huge resurgence into their show, a whole bunch of interest in their show, and then a bunch of money and backing to make a documentary, really explaining sort of everything about the show. And they have such insight to share, not just about their show, but about their role in the Star Trek universe, how it was being sort of like the middle child of Star Trek that everyone sort of had feelings about. And that documentary was amazing. So I was really excited knowing that Azure here is such a DS9 fan for him to watch that documentary and for us to talk about it. So expect an entire podcast to be about that documentary very soon. That's really awesome.
So real quick, just to drag us back to Picard season 3 trailer. Yes, the hype is very real, but actually something, I think it was what Jennifer said earlier, or maybe it was you, Merrick. Maybe, I don't know, it was some combination of the two of you, has me now a little nervous. Like, I'm still very hyped, but it was you, Merrick. You pointed out the moment on the dock between Riker and Picard was kind of a big thing in the trailer for season 1. And now I'm really
ended up
nervous.
being not representative
What if all the moments I love are in this trailer already?
It does make you wonder.
I mean, I'm hoping that the success, or at least my perceived success of Strange New Worlds, will influence them to take a slightly different stab at Picard season 3, especially because this is their final season, right?
It is.
Right,
That
so
is
they have
correct.
to wrap up something.
It cannot continue, at least in its current iteration. There's a lot of speculation. I think if Commander Justin were here, he would say that he's believed this for the last couple of seasons, that Star Trek
next generation.
Yes, the next generation, that Picard is somehow going to pass the baton to another generation, which could conceivably be I don't know, someone's son, daughter, who knows? So we shall see. I wouldn't be mad.
Burton gets to be a captain. I'm gonna lose my mind.
That'd be
Captain
good.
Sean.
I watched a bunch of Critical Role after Saul explained to me like what that series is about with her.
Yeah.
And it's so good. Like, she's just awesome.
Oh yeah, she is awesome, and I too am cautiously optimistic. I'm going to say it that way. I definitely got very excited by the trailer. Even in the trailer for season 2, right? People are just good at making trailers, guys. Like, this is just a thing that people do. They pull out an exciting vibe. And they're really good at that. So even season 2 of Picard, which, by the way, if you want my opinion about Picard, Star Trek season 2 of Picard was an excellent two-part a two-part episode. Okay, if you were to just take the season premiere and the season finale and just have it be a two-parter and cut out everything that happened in between, I would have said that was a phenomenal two-part episode of Star Trek. I'm not a huge fan of what happened in between, but the trailer had me extremely excited. So
I actually don't remember the trailer for season 2. I'm gonna have to go back and rewatch it.
Borg, and I was just very excited to see that, especially at the edge of season 1's big alien technological threat that was going on. It was pretty interesting. Venwick says, I've watched the last episode a few times. Yes, the last episode was awesome, man. Are you kidding? It was exceptionally awesome. So I mean, let's just say I saw a bunch of what I really wanted to see. I saw the original cast all brought back as a family. I have since listened to interviews, by the way. Gates McFadden, who plays Beverly Crusher, says that her role in this season of Star Trek is the best that her character has ever gotten in the history of Beverly Crusher. She feels like this is the pinnacle of Beverly Crusher. Now, that does not surprise me, in case any of you guys are not aware of how Gates McFadden feels outside of her or about her role as Beverly Crusher. She has often lamented that because this particular Star Trek was set, was made back in 1987, there were a lot of what she considers to be sexist overtones, that her character was written poorly, that she never got to be the character that she wanted her to be. And so obviously with the much more strong female role driven storytelling that we're seeing these days, and especially in modern Star Trek, I think it's safe to say that's probably why she feels that way about it. But she goes on to say that there's a lot of awesome relationships explored between the original cast, that everyone has come back. Some have been talking this entire time. Some haven't seen each other in years. And there's a really cool sort of coming together with everyone, but that there are a lot of unexpected surprises that happen between everyone. So it's going to be a roller coaster of a season that has been made very clear. I think the line that said longtime fans of the series, and this scares the crap out of me, longtime fans of the series are going to need a large box of tissues as the finale wraps up in this season. You can read into that how you want to, but it is pretty rough. In fact, before I pass it off, there's a really funny moment where in a Comic-Con interview, someone was asking some questions of Patrick Stewart, and there was a producer person basically who kept having to leap in and be like, he can't answer that because there were a great many, I guess, really spoilable things coming forward for this season. So I'm excited and terrified.
I'm actually even surprised that Gates McFadden even said what she said, because that implies so much.
It does. I mean, I don't know if it was Gates who said the thing about the tissue box. Someone from Star Trek said that.
To be fair, there are a lot of Trek moments that like pleasantly make me tear up. But like the end of Picard season 2 with Q, like I actually needed like at least a single tissue for that.
The single tissue for the single tear.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely.
Super cute moment. I loved it.
Oh, and what a moment. I don't like the setting. I didn't like how that was made to happen. And I have many questions, but I do love that it happened, right? I think after 35 years of TNG, it is really hard to just hate Q. Q was way more than a villain, so much more. He was such, I mean, I just think it's really amazing writing that they stopped to think, to take the moment to acknowledge the deeper relationship between Q and Picard. That was a huge standout highlight moment in all of Star Trek Picard for me. So, kudos to them. I hope that kind of thing continues. And maybe it is, I've cried a bunch of times in Star. I mean, not cried, but like, I've had the single tear thing a million times in Star Trek. It's almost always because I'm moved in some sort of really inspirational way, right? Where you're like, you got your eyes tear up and you're like, yeah, exactly, man.
I agree with you. And I agree with you about tearing up over inspirational moments and all of those things. But I don't know. Just if somebody actually says you're going to need tissues, then I'm thinking
it doesn't.
They're not implying that that's always just going to be some amazing inspirational moment.
Well, it's actually it's because season 3 comes with built-in allergies.
Ah, okay.
God. So what you need is tissues and like some Benadryl or
exactly.
Some sort of antihistamine. Go ahead.
I don't know. You go.
So there are a bunch of things to be excited about. All the cast and crew coming back, having their interactions, which is awesome. I love that. Most of them are wearing Starfleet uniforms. I want to let everyone, sink that in, because that was one of the big things for Picard that I didn't like from the get-go. Like the setting immediately was that Starfleet was kind of corrupt, or the villain. Picard, in his impeachable morality, decided to leave the corrupt Federation, and so the entirety of season 1 and season 2 effectively not Starfleet. You know what I mean? That was one of the big bummers for me personally, and I really whoever has feelings about that, if you go and watch our last week's podcast, we really delved into sort of what that is and why that is, and what the role that Star Trek plays in sort of mirroring modern day social sensibilities. So it can make sense if you look at it through a certain lens. But for me in particular, that was a bummer. I am really happy to see that they're all sort of back in Federation ships, back wearing their uniforms. I just want to point that out. And then the return of Brent Spiner as Lore, I suppose. Right? That's the next thing. How do you guys feel about Lore making a return? Does everyone remember where we said goodbye to Lore the last time we saw him?
I thought they had dismantled him, or were planning to dismantle him, right?
What that was the after the Borg, right?
Yeah, after
Right,
Descent, the
Yeah.
two-parter, an epic two-part. Which, by the way, that's a future episode as well, going through the two-parters and talking about our favorite ones. But I don't want to get us into that right now. But yeah, I thought they planned to dismantle him.
That was my memory of it as well.
I thought Data basically said it was like too dangerous to like leave him.
Exactly.
Right, yeah.
And they took they took the emotions chip, right? And they sort of stashed that aside. And I thought that was the case. But correct me if I'm wrong. Do you guys remember seeing Lore in the episode? I mean, in the trailer for season 3.
Yes.
It's like close to the end, or maybe right at the end.
To me, I'm really curious to see how he ends up being panned out. I'm gonna make a guess right now that he is maybe not just as like villain through and through as we remember him
Not like
to
chaotic
be.
evil. Like
Not chaotic evil, maybe, neutral evil.
Oh, sorry. Angie just put something in chat that I love, and it was actually going to be one of my predictions. It's like maybe he hijacked B4.
I mean,
Oh.
wow. Yes. But yes. Yeah. And B4, just for anyone who may not remember this very well, unfortunately, spoiler alert. This one is a unfortunate
Major
spoiler, so
spoiler.
I'm just saying this right now. Plug your ears for the next 30 seconds. Data dies in one of the TNG movies and has his brain kind of copied into a lesser model of a Noonian android, right? So this was effectively a clone of Data, but was like an earlier model or at least a dumbed down model, and did not have the same abilities of not the same neural net, I guess, of Data. And so it was kind of considered a failure. It was like at the end of the movie, Data sacrifices himself, saves everybody, and they do try to copy him into this other, inferior android that they happen to have, and it didn't work. And so it was very sad. But it was kind of one of those things at the very end of the movie, like a little, breadcrumb kind of deal. He starts humming the song. Yeah, he's humming the song that Data knew and was singing at the beginning of the movie. So it was like this little open door, like maybe he could continue. So that is a possibility. And then again in Star Trek Picard season 1, we actually end up really saying goodbye to Data. So that was really kind of put to rest. Now we may see sort of how that goes, but I'm very excited to see the return of Brent Spiner. I'm excited to see them find a way to keep the family together.
Ben Wick makes a very good point. Wouldn't Lore have to be put on trial since he has the same rights as Data?
That measure of a man would say yes. So that's a good point.
So would the episode where Data creates LOL.
Oh God!
Androids have rights.
Do you guys
I helped establish them?
Do you remember what caused LOL to fail?
It was a cascade something failure. I don't remember.
That was from the actual trivia card that we ended up reading. But she really died of a broken heart. Okay,
Yeah,
just gonna
she
throw that
did.
out there. She died of a broken heart,
And she actually experienced emotion. Like
she did.
Deanna could sense her.
She also is responsible for my favorite Star Trek GIF of all time.
Oh, the trying to catch the ball.
Trying to catch the ball. The ball flies by. It's like missing a joke.
Oh yeah, I've seen that GIF specifically. I like that one.
Yes, it is the best Star Trek GIF in my opinion. So Data coming back, or Lore coming back, Brent Spiner coming back.
I just love that
awesome.
Brent Spiner has played, I believe, 4 roles in Picard now.
Yeah,
He's played 2 Doctors soon.
Mm-hmm.
Data and now Lore.
And now Lore.
I don't know. If there were a season 4, I would be really intrigued to see how they get Brent Spiner in that one too.
That's true. I do like that everyone is excited to come back. Can I just take a moment to say, I mean, we'll talk more about Picard season 3, but Picard in general has been such this kick-off experience. I don't think that anyone... I think that it is really it's been drummed up by some of the complicated misgivings that a lot of old Trekkies have had with this modern Trek. I really do believe that it stems directly from that. I think that every Star Trek fan, pre-existing Star Trek fans, more excited than any new fandom about a new Star Trek being added, right? Star Trek Discovery comes out, extreme hype. It's a very different show. It is not the same. It definitely alienates some. Whether or not you think that should be the case, it was the case. Star Trek Picard comes out. Everyone sort of feels like, yes, it's time to come back. This is connected directly to a show that I really know and love. I can't wait. I'm going to do this. And then basically, it is a different vibe. Also, they feel alienated by it. And there definitely was a little bit of a disappointment for some. But what it showed was that these actors can come back and that people are excited about it. Since Picard set the tone, we have had so much talk about bringing back Kate Mulgrew as Janeway. Star Trek Janeway has been talked about a ton, like an absolute ton. And she's bringing it up all the time. Did you go to get coffee? Oh, I love you so much. Thank you. I just reached behind the camera. So that really has been spurned on by Star Trek Picard being a thing, and that the fans really want it. So right now there are people signing petitions and things to try to get live action Janeway back, and we're hearing it from DS9ers, man. DS9 people are like, Terry Farrell or whatever is like, hey, I know I died, but it's Star Trek, bring me back. Like, everyone wants to come back, and it's really setting a tone.
It's like that episode of Lower Decks where Shax comes back and Rutherford is just like obsessed with getting the answer.
But we don't talk about
it. Oh, yeah.
Speaking of
they're
which,
bridge crew. They're always
speaking of which, do you think there's any way that they could bring her back?
I would know.
What? Who, Jadzia?
Yeah.
I'm going to say yes, and I'll tell you exactly why. All right, this is another big spoiler, obviously from Deep Space Nine. But basically, Jadzia Dax passes away. Jadzia dies in a very specific way. Also, Flying Triangle, love you, buddy. Good to see you, man. The Jadzia dies. If you guys remember, she dies in the Temple of the Prophets. She is literally there to pray to the prophets for the first time ever because she believes in them, in the magic that she was given by Kira's prayers to pray for the very unlikely pregnancy that she had with Worf. Right? It was supposed to be that Klingons and Trill joined. I don't know if it was just joined Trill or Trill, are not able to have babies usually, and that it was going to be very complicated. And Kira had said that she prayed to the prophets for her to have a child, and then it happened. And so she goes to the prophets, prays to them, and dies right in that moment to a Pa Wraith. Could you ever be given a better opportunity? These are literally outside of space and time, non-linear magic god aliens, okay, that she was praying to. If you really wanted to write this story to bring back Jadzia, darn it, it's possible, okay?
Well, and here's what I want. I don't need Avery Brooks to come back for a full season or anything. I want him to bring Jadzia back and then say, like, her to be, like, super surprised or thankful or whatever, and him to say, like, no problem, old man, and then just fade away back.
Or, no.
10 out of 10.
But what if they don't bring her back, but they bring back, like, her child?
That just so happens to look like her?
Yeah, exactly, right?
Has aged the same amount as
No, because, like, if she got injured, right, in the prophet next to the orb, like, what if the...
Oh, like the baby was...
Like, what if they took the baby out of space and time?
I don't know.
We saw her die. And so do I. But we saw her die in the medical bay, right? So, in the medical office, not in the prophet room.
Oh, no. Game Spree just said, Jadzia dies? No! I'm really hoping that was a joke.
All right. Next time we do this, we got to make sure we put spoilers in the title of the stream.
In the title of the stream. Yes, I'm absolutely going to do that. It's complicated, though. It's complicated, Game Spree. So, or maybe you're joking. Game Spree also said Star Trek, Tasha, which I would be on board for. Like, there could be a whole story about what happens to her after yesterday's Enterprise, right? That could actually be pretty awesome. Oh, you are kidding. Okay. I'm so glad, dude, because
that makes me feel a lot better.
I am literally the biggest Niner in the world. I love Deep Space Nine. It's my absolute favorite. I would hate to ruin it for anyone because it is absolutely the best. The Red Shirt Chronicles.
What about Mirror Universe Jadzia?
Oh, Mirror Universe Jadzia is not a bad way to get her back.
Oh, either. Shit. We've even met her.
Yeah.
Yeah, and apparently she and Ben Sisko slept together.
Yes. Don't you
remember? Wow.
She like slaps him for the next
doing
time he
that,
visits
yeah.
the mirror universe.
That's
She
right.
thought it was the mirror universe bed.
Wow, I'd forgotten that. Okay. That could easily be a way to do it.
This brings me to and we can put this off if it's not a convenient time. I want us to make a couple predictions each about what's going to happen during Picard season 3, and this leads me into my most obscure one, or one of my most obscure ones that I'm hoping for. And I know it won't happen because I think they would have announced that this actor was coming back if she was. But I want in Picard season 3, so Worf says he prefers pacifism now. I want them to get into a situation where he really needs to step up and fight, but is hesitant or whatever because of his new philosophy or whatever. And I want Ezri Dax, Nicole DeBoer, to show up and like push him into like doing the right thing to save everyone.
Oh, it would be. What a secret for them to not show that she's coming back. That would be crazy, but I would love it if that was true.
Like, I know people have lots of feelings about Ezri Dax, but Nicole DeBoer, a hero for stepping into that role and actually, really, in my opinion, crushing it with one season left in the show.
Oh my God.
Oh, I completely agree. Like, and I was devastated when I watched and Jadzia died, and I was like, no, I was just not okay with that. But then she did such a good job as Ezri. Like, you fall in love with her in that season, like, so quickly. Like, she's so likable, and I think they made her character so different enough that it really didn't feel like it was taking away from Jadzia at all. Like, I think she did it so well.
I don't think it could be said better. She's only given a single season, right? This is a 7th of the total show. There's 7 seasons, and yet when she comes in, you're like, oh God, you're just like a Band-Aid for the very end of the show. Like, whatever. But she makes such an impact, hits the ground running with that role. She has no time to get in character. She just hits the ball out of the park, man. And it's, I mean, I don't want to take anything away from Terry Farrell, who plays Jadzia, right? But even Jadzia, it is a weird role to step into. You are a young woman, and you're supposed to be the old man, right? Who is like the mentor of someone and has relationship ties with somebody else. And like 7 years of history in this, or 6, I guess, years of history in this show, it took Terry Farrell several seasons to really get her grip on that role. She was, go back and watch the first couple of seasons of DS9. Everyone takes time to get into their role, right? It's normal for everyone. She had the hardest time. And in the documentary, What We Left Behind, Azure, she speaks to it. She talks about how she was really squished by everybody. Yeah. She was like her first real acting gig. She was kind of a model before that, not really an actress. She comes in and had no idea how to play this character who was supposed to be like this young, beautiful woman, but also 250 years worth of like life experience, whatever it is, like this huge thing. And so she had a really rough time of it. And I think she even had to tell Avery Brooks to like take it easy, right? He was squishing her bad in every scene, and she couldn't get anything out. She finally had to be like, I'm really intimidated by you. You're taking up all the oxygen. Like, I don't know how to handle this. And he was really sweet. According to her, he like really listened, took it back, helped her from then on, and it was like a really positive experience. But it took her 3 years to really get that right. You know, the Jadzia that we know, and
Ezri got it within the first episode.
Oh, she nailed it!
Like,
yeah, episode
she
1
was that character right from day one. It was very well done, very fleshed out. It was everything it was supposed to be. Like, I don't think it gets the like the credit it deserves. Really, the character, the writing for that character, or the actress.
I do think she had a little bit of help onboarding in the sense that Ezri was super awkward intentionally.
Right.
Yeah, but she pulled that off so well.
She pulled it off in a good way. Like, it wasn't it was like weird or
right?
you know.
Yeah.
Don't mind me, I'm just microwaving my coffee.
Actually, those are some of my favorite episodes in Deep Space Nine, are the ones with Ezri.
Yeah, she's got a lot of good episodes.
And it makes me so happy that, spoiler, it makes me so happy that she finally gets together with Bashir, because I always liked them too, the two of them together, I was really sad when that didn't happen. So like when Ezri got together with him, it made me so happy.
Yes, I also love how awkward their relationship is as it starts up. Like,
because it should be. They're both weirdos.
Yeah, well, and like I forget who comments on it on like in ops in DS, or like Worf is like, he's a child. He's like he basically
He
calls her
plays
a
with
man
toys.
child, and she's very confused.
Yes. Oh, it's so good. And then there's finally the scene where they're like they're making out as the turbo lift comes into ops, and everyone's like, oh shit, and they just hit the button and they like send them back down. I love that. I love that that's how that whole relationship panned out. It was so good. She was in some of the best episodes. I mean, season 7 crescendoed to the best of Star Trek ever, right? I mean, so many of the greatest episodes are in season 7. We're talking Take Me Out to the Holosuites. Also the Ocean's 11 episode, which was phenomenal.
I don't remember the actual name of it.
I don't either, but you know what I mean by Ocean's 11.
Yeah, they're trying to rescue Vic.
Mm-hmm. Oh, Vic Fontaine. Talk about a character that comes in out of nowhere and absolutely changes the whole show for the better. I mean, he's another one, man.
Amazing character.
Oh
absolutely.
Yeah, he was incredible.
Star Trek Vic, I would watch.
Yeah, I was going to say, I would watch Star Trek Vic in a heartbeat.
Right, just like the adventures on the holodeck.
Yeah, please don't give me the Weird Mirror Universe Vic. That was so awkward. That's the only thing that he ever did that was awkward. That made no sense, and he didn't play it off very well. It was very not his character, right? It was very odd, but, you know, I'll forgive him that for all the good episodes.
So anyway, we got onto this topic because that was my weird off-the-wall prediction, or I guess hope for season 3 that I know won't happen, but I don't care. I want it. Do you guys have anything weird that you're particularly hoping for out of season 3? Especially something that in no way is hinted at in the trailer. It's just something you would love to see.
Moriarty. I want him to have a spin-off. At long last.
I was going to say that was in the trailer.
Yes. I love that actor. I remember he was like my favorite character on The Nanny, if anybody remembers that show.
Daniel Davis. Yeah, he was awesome on The Nanny.
He's so good on that. And then it was interesting because I actually really knew him more there as the butler on The Nanny before seeing him as Moriarty on Star Trek. So when I first saw him, I was like, oh my God, that's so amazing.
I don't know if I have like a specific thing that I want to see happen other than I really would like them to pass the torch. I want to see, like, my things are not as fun as yours. I would like to see Starfleet be the good guy again. I would like everyone to come back in the Federation with some sort of hopeful and altruistic, optimistic goal, and that they can actually pass the torch to something else. It's a big ask, I know, but I really want TNG to represent what it used to represent to me as a kid. I do love seeing, there's a couple things that I'm excited and sort of like building off of from the trailer. Like, I love the fact that Worf is still in the Federation. Every future iteration of Worf we ever see is him joining the Empire rather than staying in the Federation. So I was very excited to see that was true. I can't wait to see what they do with that particular plot line. My big thing would be, you know, I want Q to still be there. I don't know, man.
It'll be tough.
I know. It is really hard. It's really hard. I guess I haven't allowed myself to really have like fanciful daydreams about awesome things that I would like to see when my whole thing is just sitting here hoping that it doesn't suck.
There we go. That's what I want.
The Adventures of the Doctor and Moriarty, a hologram tale.
Which could work because the Doctor writes holo novels.
Exactly.
Yes.
Like, Voyager gets back. The Doctor learns about this Moriarty person being stored in like a data cube, and he just starts writing Moriarty stories.
Oh, I like it.
Barclay would clearly be involved.
Of course. I mean, Barclay just is wonderful. That's another character that
that's
is
what I want.
Favorite of mine.
I want Broccoli. Bring Broccoli back.
Ooh, Moriarty and Odo join up to solve crime from Game Spree. I would read, like, I would want those to be novels.
They would have to be novels at this point.
I would love to read that.
Oh, dude. Okay, so that's going to bring us to Moriarty. And of course, I saved this for last. I reached out to Venwick, who's in the chat right now. He's a Ko-Fi supporter on our stream, and he is a Star Trek fan. I wanted to give him the opportunity if he had anything cool that he wanted to ask us or pose a question to us that we could make a topic about. And Moriarty was what he wanted to discuss. Daniel Davis is amazing. I couldn't be more excited from top to bottom. All of the awesome things that were in that trailer, none of them got me more excited than the return of Daniel Davis as Moriarty. That character was in 2 episodes of Next Generation and somehow helped to define the show. Yeah, he stole the whole show. He was so incredible. There's actually a story behind why it took them so long to bring back that character, because all the fans wanted a follow-up. Everyone loved that episode. But I do have some cool trivia about this. Daniel Davis has always been a Star Trek fan. He competed for the role. He was a TOS fan originally, watched it a ton when he was younger, and then when TNG first came out, he was there from the beginning, watching from the beginning of season 1 as an enthusiastic fan. And then when season 2 came and they were looking for a classically trained sort of like classic stage actor to play the role of Moriarty, he went up against a bunch of people in that same frame for this role and really actually wanted it, and ended up getting the role and was thrilled. Basically, he not only loved the role that he ended up playing and then really was excited and was kind of like, finally, I get to come back and finish that with Ship in a Bottle when they brought it back again. But here's the cool thing. He's been a fan of this character and the franchise for forever and has been friends with Kate Mulgrew for like 40 years and was desperately hoping that he would end up on Voyager. He wanted somehow Moriarty to come back as something on Voyager. It never panned out, but he has always kept feelers out and made comments with the hope of somehow reprising that particular role. And it did finally happen in Star Trek.
Do it.
Yes, exactly. This wasn't like some weird thing. He loves it and he's been vying for this. So it was just so cool to see that actually come to fruition. So this is a pretty exciting thing.
Yeah. No, that's super cool. I didn't know any of that. I didn't know that he knew Kate Mulgrew, that he liked Star Trek kind of independently on his own. That's super cool.
You got to love it. I mean, he says there was a cool interview around 2014 where he was talking about like the things that like stood out the most for him in his career, right? The things that he was most proud of and all this stuff. And he was talking about, in TV, he was really proud of The Nanny. That was 6 full seasons, really. Like he loved that. It was a big project, something he's never done before. Mostly he's done a ton of stuff with stage. He knows like Ian McKellen and they did like play stuff together. He's definitely like a classic stage actor. And he was talking about his movie roles that he was really happy to be able to be a part of The Hunt for Red October, Jennifer,
of course, another favorite,
which is one of our favorites, and he plays a small role in that, but it was kind of cool. But what he says is he loves his role in Star Trek because of all the things he's ever done in his whole career, which spanned his entire lifetime on stage, movies, and the big screen and the small screen. He is still recognized for basically nothing but Moriarty. Star Trek. He says he that is where he gets recognized constantly. He loves the fact that he got to do that 2-parter, and I think it's just so cool. We talk about this all the time on this podcast.
It's such a good character. I mean, it's such a phenomenal, like, bigger than life character.
But don't you love when the actors themselves love the thing, like that they're a fan too? I just love that, man, and he's a fan as well. And it just makes me very happy.
Yeah.
And of course, Moriarty was a fascinating, like the way that they even ended that episode was so cool. Like he came out as a villain, but then you totally felt for him, and they ended peacefully. It's kind of like, oh, now that I understand what's happening, here's control of everything back, and I will see you soon. Good, please don't forget me, kind of thing.
Yeah, but I love that in the second one, they're like horrified to realize we kept him trapped, but he's felt the passage of time.
Yes.
Right, which is basically he's been tortured for all that time. So
right, yeah, because like nothingness, but that you exist.
Actually, in a way, it has a lot of parallels to the Khan story, that they left him somewhere where they thought he was going to be okay, and then it was definitely not okay, and there were all these horrible tragedies that happened, and that's why he kind of has this wanting to get revenge.
So I'm kind of hoping, and this is another one of my predictions for season 3, that I don't really care if this one comes true. I'm happy for Moriarty to be there regardless of how they do it. But I'm hoping that whatever Lore is doing when he's revealed in the trailer and whatever he's up to, that they bring Moriarty back to help them stop Lore, because Moriarty was specifically created as a foe that could defeat Data.
Could defeat Data.
I think that would be like a really cool. And so phenomenal. I think it was Avatar mentioned in the chat that like Picard should be ashamed because he promised Moriarty freedom and then trapped him and didn't ever do anything about it. I think in the trailer when he says like hello again old friends and pulls out that pistol, like I think it would be great if Moriarty's introduction is him being completely pissed.
Yeah,
he's super smart. He has probably figured out that he and the Countess Bartholomew are in an illusion.
Probably figured it out relatively quickly.
Yeah. And so I would love if they brought him back. He was real mad at first, but then he because he's like a rational person. Like you said, he starts as a villain, but he's like not like mean spirited.
Exactly.
He just does what's right. And I hope he comes back. He's super pissed, blah, blah, blah. But then he realizes that like there's this threat from this like other Data that he can defeat, and he helps him out.
Cogito ergo sum. I think, therefore I am. I just love that character. I love what he represents. I think the idea of it was genius. The inclusion of Data's Sherlock, which is one of everyone's favorite anythings ever in Star Trek, was so good. The relatable villain, which we can all respect and appreciate. I adore what you said. Like, I don't know if you guys could see it on my face. The wheels in my brain, dude. As soon as you said that, I love it so much because he really was. God, that would make for such a good. I hope you're right, Azure. Now, if it's anything but that, I'm going to be pissed now, dude. Like that's where I'm at with this. They should feel bad what they did with Moriarty. That's definitely like a pickle that they put him in. But what a great way to bring him back. Because I'll tell you, just from the interviews that I've read, they said that he's very interesting and very different. That's what they said. So it's very different. I can't. Not only can I not go into any detail, this was one of the things that Patrick Stewart was silenced on at the Comic-Con. So somebody asked him, "What was it like to work with Daniel Davis again?"
Right.
And he goes, and then somebody jumped up and said he can't talk about that because I guess it's pretty spoilable, man. Which means. You know, it could be what Azure said or something similar to that. I genuinely hope that that's true.
Even answering that question could imply that they were on the set together or not on the set together. I mean, there's just so many implications.
Yeah.
That is true. They only actually saw each other for a certain amount of time. So the other thing I want to say is something that was mentioned here by Avatar, which was that, and I thought that was true, Picard uniforms, right, for the 20... for whatever the year is, I forgot what it is. $23.99 or something like that?
Yes, because STO is 10 years after Picard, I believe.
Yes. So those uniforms are obviously very different. In fact, even the uniforms we see in season 3 are vastly different from the uniforms we saw in season 1. So it's obviously a whole different thing. But if Avatar is correct, and it was what I was thinking as well, which is that little brief glimpse we get of Lore is that he's wearing a Federation uniform. Didn't it look like an older Federation uniform? Was he wearing a Federation uniform?
It definitely didn't look like the same one Geordi was wearing.
Not even close. It looks like way like more dumbed down, like more plain looking. My feel like is it kind of looked like a Star Trek Generations DS, like first original DS9 uniform. That was the kind of vibe that I got on that. I don't know if it is for sure, but would that somehow lend some credence to the fact that it could be somehow related to B4 or something like that? You thought it looked like more like a Picard Resigns uniform flashback from season 1. I don't remember what
that looks like. I'm going to have to go pull up that episode. And
wait, Picard Resigns?
In season 1, there's the part where he it's the almost flashbacky moment where he resigns from Starfleet. After
I see. Yeah, so the season 1 of Picard, not TNG. I got you. Okay. Yeah, I mean, maybe it is that, but it's fascinating either way, isn't it, that he's wearing a Starfleet uniform, period. That means that this whole dynamic is going to be quite interesting. I think when I was reading about the show in general, the little blurb that I saw said, like, Star Trek Picard season 3 reveals 3 villains that it's going to have to contend with and like all this stuff. I think it's more nuanced than that at this point. It might not be the case. We were talking about the actress, by the way, Amanda Plummer, who plays Vadic, who is the female villain that we're about to see. She By the way, in case you guys, because I did some digging with Azure just before the podcast, I was quite curious. I'm like, where do I know this chick from?
Mind blown on some of those revelations.
Yes, mind blown indeed. Amanda Plummer, you may know as Honey Bunny from Pulp Fiction. Standing up on top of a diner table, screaming at everyone that they're gonna blow, or she's gonna blow their heads off in Pulp Fiction. That is Amanda Plummer. You may also recognize her from Hunger Games, Nuts and Bolts, in the second Hunger Games. She was, I forgot which one is Nuts and Bolts, but she was one of the two, one of the very smart ones. She was the hickory dickory dock, the mouse ran up the clock.
I think she was that chick. Because she was the one that was like kind of crazy.
Kind of crazy? Yeah, I guess that makes sense. So the other one did all the electricity stuff. So yeah, she was nuts. But that's her. She is an awesome actress. I'm quite excited to see this. I'm not quite as excited as I am about the new reveal for next season of Strange New Worlds for the engineer. That's very exciting. But the never mind. Laura's uniform looks nothing like what I thought. Oh, it's pretty simple,
I make those
right?
sorts of mistakes all the time.
She was also the dead girl in The Prophecy. Really?
I don't think I've ever seen The Prophecy.
I think I have a long time ago.
I
don't remember it.
We've been going through a lot of horror movies lately because of my wife, Chief Jennifer. She does not like scary things. And even if she watches horror movies, I'm not even kidding. This is not an exaggeration. She watches them like this.
Okay,
I have the stream delay, so I can't see what. Oh, wait.
I have a method. Okay, so, and I started this because I used to watch like subtitled horror films in college with a friend of mine or a couple of friends that really liked them. And so I wanted to know what was going on, but I did not want to see the very disturbing visuals. So I would cover just enough of the television screen so that I could still read the subtitles at the bottom.
Is that what you've been doing? Because we have subtitles. That's what you do? You actually just watch the subtitles?
Absolutely. I mean, for part of it. And then, like, I'll look when I feel like it's okay. But, like, I've become very good at being able to distinguish the music. So I can usually predict when there's going to be a jump scare. And then, like, I'll cover my eyes for that.
As someone who also hates horror movies, I might start to use this technique.
Yeah.
It's not you too.
It's really a good option. I have a weird relationship with horror films. I actually do find them, like, fascinating. But I just have a really overactive imagination. So if I see too many really disturbing visuals, I will just see them like in every corner.
Okay, no joke. She only lets me watch horror movies with her during October leading up to Halloween. We found out that The Conjuring is like a series of 6 movies. There's like a ton. I had no idea. So we've been watching all of the Conjuring movies. So she watches them like this all night long. And then at nighttime, in the middle of the night, I get poked that she has to go pee and go to the bathroom. And then I have to get up and walk with her. I'm not even kidding. This happens. So like, I have to pay for it if I make my wife watch horror movies.
Okay, that's pretty funny.
This is real. This actually happens.
Hi, have you guys watched? I don't want to take us too far off STO, but have you guys watched Chopping Mall yet?
No,
it's on my list, but no. Although that's hardly a scary movie, I think.
No, it's definitely not. I mean, I think it was intended to be a horror movie, but it's definitely more of a comedy.
Yeah, it looks like Johnny Five wants to kill everyone.
Basically.
Anyone watch Short Circuit back in the day? That was such a good movie.
I have not seen it.
You've not seen Short Circuit?
No,
it's a classic.
Man, I live in mostly a Star Trek bubble.
Hey, that's a great bubble.
That's fair. It's a good bubble to be in.
No, I mean, like, there's so many things that people are like, have you seen this? And I'm like, no. And they're like, why? And I was like, I was too busy rewatching, I don't know, Star Trek or like one of the movies that I actually own or whatever. And they're like, you just don't go explore new things? And I was like, no, not really.
Not really. I don't need to.
Star Trek on repeat. I'm already done with season 1 of Voyager, Merrick, and I just finished DS9 a couple.
What is wrong with you? You just watched Voyager. Are you already cycled back around to Voyager?
Well, because I just finished DS9. I was going to take a break and watch Avatar, but I logged out of Netflix and I have to figure out my password before I can log back in.
It is one of the greatest things about Star Trek, okay, is that there's so bloody much of it that by the time you finish all of it, it's been long enough that you can start over. That's what's so great about Star Trek.
That's what's so great about Star Trek. It's true.
I love that.
It's a fascinating experience that happens.
I googled this
Yeah.
like a couple of weeks ago when we were doing either the Let's Play or this, and there's over 800 episodes of Star Trek across 43 seasons.
That's right. There is more Star Trek than there is almost anything else. Like, there's more just media in Star Trek than anything else. It baffles my mind. Like, you know how people constantly compare Star Trek and Star Wars? They're incomparable. They have nothing to do with each other. They're completely different, and there is just so much in the realm of Star Trek. I adore it. You can just completely get swallowed by this. Also, I just want to shout out, I'm not the only old person in chat, apparently, which is nice. Game Spree says such a good movie, and then said, I am also very old. Benwick says number Johnny, which is Johnny 5, I am alive. That was definitely the thing. And it feels good. It feels good not to be
clear, I'm also very old. I just don't explore new things.
Or old things.
Get off my bridge.
Get off my bridge. But yeah, so
it took Merrick months to get me to watch What We Left Behind, and I wanted to watch it.
Yes. Yeah, that's true. That's true. And it's right up your, it's nothing new. It's just exciting things that you would already like.
It's more of what I already want. Anyway.
It did take me some effort, admittedly less effort to get you to watch Avatar: The Last Airbender. But I really, I talked that up a lot because I had a feeling you were just going to love it.
And I did.
And how do you not love it? Yeah. Game Spree just turned 54. Nice, dude. Happy birthday, man. That is awesome. So speaking of scary things, it is actually my hope to do in the Discord, by the way, guys, if you're not already in our Star Trek Discord, !ST Discord for Star Trek Discord, come and join us because we do watch parties and all sorts of fun stuff. And it's my hope that we do like a Halloween Star Trek party. So
we're gonna pick out all of our favorite like spooky episodes from Star Trek.
Exactly.
So I'll be picking Cat's Paw from the original series, which happens to also be what the entire Star Trek Online's this year's daily Halloween festivities. They're what is it?
Yes.
Oh yeah,
which was really good. Yeah, that was actually really good. I loved that they did that. Yes, we did. We did them with with Ark earlier. Yeah.
Venwick. Yeah, no, that one's not great. I mean, but technically, I guess it is this one of the scary ones.
What, Venwick? Of course, that's gonna be the first. We'll just repeat that one over and over again. That's everyone's favorite episode. Angie says my vote is for Threshold. That is easily the scariest episode of all of Star Trek. So you know.
Is that the one with?
I think that's what I suggested too.
What's the one with the Davidians?
Oh no. The Davidians. Well, the Davidians was the like go back in time, find Data's head.
Oh yeah,
Clemens episode.
Wait, is that Davidians?
Yeah, that's the Davidians.
And then they're
walking around. Remember, they're walking around in the times of some plague, and they have like the snake cane. An Ophidian. Thank you. Yes, exactly.
That's the Davidians. I didn't realize that was them.
Well, they do that really well. Like Star Trek Online really takes that in such a good way because there's that whole quest line, which we haven't done yet, right, on the STO streams. But when we get to it, we'll actually probably get to it or maybe around Halloween. It's so good. Like they did it really well and super spooky. They did.
That was a decent one. I'm not sure. The moments with the Davidians definitely were pretty scary. How about the episode of Voyager with the creepy hologram that killed his entire ship?
Oh, there's that. I was also going to say there's one either late season 1 or early season 2 because that's where I am right now, and I just watched this episode. The one where Janeway starts like hallucinating, and it turns out it's like the telepath from afar. Like she starts seeing things from her holodeck program that she's been.
Oh yeah, that's
Persistence of Vision is the name of the episode.
That's good. Yeah, that's a good one.
That
also,
creepy.
Once Icheb and them are on the ship and all the kids are there, remember the episode where they're sitting in the
tells them the story.
Yes, they're sitting there telling the ghost story. That is a good one. That's a really good one. That would be one for sure.
Oh, Venwick suggests the Sunkatsi episode.
Sunkats, yeah, the Rock. Oh, The Haunting of Deck 12. That's what it's called. The Haunting of. That's literally perfect, man. We gotta watch that one. Oh, Star Trek Neelix. I'm down, dude.
I would watch Star Trek Neelix.
Neelix is literally the worst character until, and I'm sorry to say it, until Kes leaves the show. After she leaves, he becomes one of the best characters ever. He has such, in my view, he goes a full 180. Every interaction with him while Kes is on board makes me just cringe. The entire jealousy arc, right? Just never ending jealousy arc. Oh, it was just torture. But then he becomes amazing right after she's gone. He becomes like a super help to everybody's like not just a morale officer, but he even starts like volunteering as a security officer. He has so many great episodes after that.
I love him trying, like, because a couple times he tries to convince Tuvok to let him like do his like daily security rounds, become a security officer, and then in the Year of Hell or whatever, he actually is a security officer.
Oh yeah. Oh, yes. Yes, he is.
Or maybe that's when Kes is in the future, jumping backwards timeline. Either way.
I think it is that one. Yeah.
But like, he actually is a security officer, which I love. And then he does actually get some security or something. I don't know. I love him.
Because the year of Hell only happens in that, like the full year only happens in the flashback, right? Because in the actual episode, they don't go that full time. He probably doesn't get to that point where everyone else is kind of like, they need everyone to be on guard for security.
Right.
But that episode, like the flashback episode with Kes, that's amazing. That episode was phenomenal. And I talk about it all the time because this is, kind of revolutionary for Star Trek. They don't do it a lot, but like the real foreshadowing, like the way ahead of time foreshadowing stuff that they do sometimes, which I guess they have done from the beginning, but it's rare, right?
That one is big though.
That one is big, but I mean, so the Borg were the first one. In TNG, just even the reveal of the Borg period took a lot of episodes for that to actually happen. And that was a really cool, like big arc foreshadow. But the Year of Hell was Voyager's version of that. But Voyager did a bunch of that stuff, man. And I loved that. Like the whole thing, what I always forget going through Voyager is the time where Tom Paris becomes like an outcast and is like terrible. And he's like reverting to his bad behaviors and he's going to get thrown off the ship. And then you realize that he's doing it on purpose. But that was like 6 episodes of like precursor,
yeah, they set
man.
That up long in advance.
Yeah, they did.
Not
it was
quite
great.
as long as Year of Hell. But
no,
I do like Avatar Continuum bringing up Neelix is attempting to pick the new security alert. Danger. Intruders
among us. What about Read Alert?
No, stop. That's like the most uncomfortable. Well, there's a lot of uncomfortable moments in Enterprise, but
but you got to take it easy on them, man. It's been a long road.
How do I walk into
Getting
this every
from there
time.
to here.
I promise we don't script this. I literally just can't. I can't avoid it.
It's been a long road. Can I get an X in chat, guys, if you like the theme song to Enterprise, and maybe like a Y in chat if you don't like
I like how remixed
the season, the intro. I just got no Game Spree. You don't like it? Benwick, let's go, buddy. Master Liu, yes. It's been a long road. All right, what? Oh, Paco
I
says
agree with
W.
NG. I made an improved version.
You did. You guys got to join the Discord. We've shared something fascinating. Creation of Azures in there. That's
what happens when my boss goes out of town.
Oh, okay, Venwick. So I think it's like season. Oh, Avatar. No. Season 3 is it where they remix the intro?
Oh yeah.
It gets worse, not better. I actually like the first one better than the later one. So I'm just gonna throw it out there. There is that split there. Oh, and shameless plug for the Discord. Come join if you're a Star Trek fan. Oh, Maddox, good night. Thank you for stopping by. Oh, Maddox.
Oh, Maddox, yes.
It arrived today.
Yes, I just got it like right before we started the stream.
It's somewhere down here, but it arrived today. Avatar says, I prefer the slower DS9 1 through 3 as well compared to the faster 4 to 7 intros. I agree with that also. I genuinely love the DS9 music intro. I think it's my favorite one.
I just love the lower decks where they're like, oh, we can't dock yet. You got to delay. Just fly around the station. Just take in its magnificence.
No, just pretend you're in awe of the pilots.
That's it. Yeah.
Oh, it's so good. It's so good. So anyway, there's a ton of stuff, guys, to look forward to in Star Trek Picard Season 3. We have that coming up in February 16th, so we have some time to wait. I do want to bring up what was said a little while ago by Avatar. I believe that Avatar is correct. I think I read somewhere that even though it's not in the trailer anywhere, that Denise Crosby is coming back. I think Denise Crosby is somehow in season 3 of Picard.
I guess that makes sense. And especially if you think of, and again, we're all like Avatar said, and I love the phrasing, STO, soft canon.
Soft canon.
This is the time period
Coining
where Sela would come back and make sense.
It fully is. It fully is. I really hope that she does come back. I love Denise Crosby. I think that it's a shame. Like, it's so hard, actually. I'm rewatching several Star Treks right now, and I'm rewatching season 1 of TNG. It's because if Jennifer is with me, she's watching Voyager with me, and so she's on our official playthrough, which means that if she's there, we're watching Voyager. If not, if I'm just alone or I'm in the shower, I always watch Netflix in the shower. It's weird. Yes, I literally, dude, no joke. I have like a shower speaker and I throw my phone into a Ziploc bag and I sit it up on my shower thing and I literally watch Star Trek while I take a shower.
No actual judgment. I listen to Star Trek in the shower, but I don't put my phone in a Ziploc bag. I just
Ziploc bag, baby.
I just have a speaker and I just listen.
Denise Crosby confirmed it. She just didn't say how.
Yes, I thought so. And Justin, what's up, buddy? Look where we are, man. We're in the new spot. We decided to sit over here so that we could see each other, because otherwise you're just looking out the window. But this is Club 47. Sela is greater than Tasha. I mean, you're not wrong, dude. Tasha had so few episodes to really stand out, but I did love her character. But going back to season 1 of TNG, seriously, it is hard to imagine the show with Tasha staying. It almost didn't make sense.
It didn't make sense for Worf.
What was Worf doing?
Yeah, I feel like Worf's character would have suffered tremendously if Tasha Yar had stayed.
Yeah, I agree. In fact, when Denise talks about her leaving the show, she often cites Worf. She says, I felt like I was just standing there all the time. Like, a lot of episodes didn't have anything to do with me. It's such a big ensemble cast. I would spend entire days standing behind Picard. So all you can see is my legs. Yeah, she's like, I could just have like a stand-in of legs. Like, you just need my legs. You don't need me to be there. But that isn't the real thing. She would be like, I'm standing up there with like security concerns, and Worf is standing right behind me. Like, what is Worf doing? Like, he's kind of a security officer. I'm kind of a security officer. I'm in the gold, but he's in the red. Like, it didn't make any sense. Worf moving from whatever the hell he was to security. Geordi moving down to engineering, as we know. And this whole little shuffle that happens at the end of season 1, it needed the room for Denise to leave. So it is really sad, but it's the best case scenario, isn't it? Because everything worked out perfectly, but she stayed friends with the entire cast.
And she came back as a cooler character.
As a cooler character.
Gone on for, all these years, and now it's in Star Trek Online.
And my favorite part, All Good Things, where she points out, like, I'm the security chief unless you're planning to make a change.
Oh, yes. Oh, my God. That was so good. That was really good. Don't forget that she also was the one who actually pitched the idea of Sela to begin with. That was Denise Crosby.
Oh, right.
That was her idea. She, I think it's pretty common. She was a beautiful young woman. She was just getting this role of Star Trek, which no one thought was going to succeed. We talked about that last week. No one thought that was a big deal. And then she was like, I'm going to go off and see if I could be a movie star, like that kind of thing. And it didn't end up being exactly everything that she wanted it to be, but was friends with Roddenberry and everybody. She came back and said, hey, and it wasn't Roddenberry, it was one of the producers. She said, hey, I got this idea. Here it is for Sela. And they're like, yeah, great. We'll take that under consideration. She was like, yeah, it's Hollywood speech. I'm never going to hear from them ever again. And then it was like a year later, she got a message saying, hey, we're going to run with your idea. We're just going to change it and make you like a supervillain. Because initially she was supposed to be like the bridge of peace between the Federation and the Romulans. So they ended up changing it. Kind of the opposite. But Sela was genius. And yesterday's Enterprise, one of the greatest episodes of TNG. Anyone dispute that? I think that's like phenomenal. And still to this day, one of my very favorite moments that STO picked up and finished in the game.
That's a perfect example of something. Yeah, Star Trek Online finished.
Yeah.
I scrolled through that list that Junie just posted real quick, and
Game
I
Spree.
totally forgot to suggest, but it is one of the creepiest Voyager episodes, The Thaw, the one with the clown.
Yes, actually, that is
That when I watched that as a kid, it actually like
Wait, what
scared
episode?
the crap
the
out of me.
thaw from
Remember
Voyager,
when
where they
find the people who are like in like neural stasis
Oh,
underground?
Fear. Yeah,
Yeah.
dude. Oh my gosh, that
The
episode.
only thing we have to fear is fear, itself.
The only thing we have to fear is fear itself.
right. I mean, that one wasn't as scary for me. It was
Oh,
very.
that
I
was
don't
good.
know.
I did
Yeah,
not
I
like
still
that
liked
clown.
it.
I didn't like it either. I mean, the actor did a great job. Like, I know that
Oh
actor.
yeah. No, I don't mean I didn't like the role. I just did not like.
It was a weird departure for that actor too. He doesn't normally do stuff like that, but it was really, really good. It was really phenomenal.
Yeah.
Oh yes, Game Spree. I'm afraid is what it's the last line that Fear says on the show is I'm afraid, and then you hear Janeway say, "I know."
But yeah, the haunting of Deck 12, that was great for Voyager. That one will do.
Felon Derek, thank you for the follow. Welcome to the stream. Avatar says, I will not fear. Fear is the mind killer. I will control my fear. I will let it pass through me. When the fear is gone, only I will remain. Oh, sorry. Wrong franchise. Wait, what is that? That's vaguely familiar, but I'm not sure what that is. Do you guys know?
I don't.
Remember?
Oh, it's Dune.
Okay.
Did you guys watch Dune, the movie? The new
I
movie?
did not see the new Dune.
Oh, it was
That's
really
a
good.
good one. That was,
really
they did very well at creating an atmosphere and an environment that captured the essence of what I thought, Doom was back when I was playing it. Like, I actually did play even the games. So I have this weird association with it where I remember like sending out the person to like get, to dig up the sand and get the spices from the game.
I'd forgotten about the conspiracy episode. Like creepy aliens taking over everybody, the little things, the tails sticking out. That's a good one. That's a good one for scary.
How did you
scary.
forget
Oh,
about
conspiracy!
You talked
That
about
one
that
is
episode?
that one's actually one of the most like gruesome looking.
It is. And in fact, I'm even actually, that's another episode or another Star Trek thing that they really sort of walk up to, right? They give some foreshadowing for. The first one is, I actually just watched it. They come on board the Enterprise with Remick. Remick comes on and turns the Enterprise upside down, sort of interviewing everyone and trying to find the conspiracy going on. This has put a strain on our friendship. I know, and I regret that. That's the whole thing between Picard. And it turns out there is no conspiracy, but then later those two people end up being taken over by the aliens. And again, talk about another thing that ends up with a complete question mark at the end of that episode that is completely followed up. Yeah, that follows up in STO at the end of the episode Conspiracy when they blow up Remick's head, right? His freaking head explodes. And they take down all the weird aliens that are controlling everyone in the Federation. The very last thing that they say is that they caught a signal being sent into deep space they have no idea what it said and where it went. It was just like an address. It was like, this is where it is, like sending where it is. And that's it. We never hear from it again. We never know where they go. Oh, which leads into the next perfect episode for a Star Trek Halloween, which is the click, 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 clicks in the night.
Oh, Schisms?
That is Schisms.
Oh,
How did you know that?
What?
Yeah, that was impressive.
Thank you.
Jennifer?
I mean, it might have been because... Don't look so surprised.
Oh, sorry. Yes. Usually that's my job. I'm surprised.
But that was just immediate.
I just went through that eerie episode list. I read all 18 titles.
Oh,
I stopped
okay.
reading
And it had the corresponding image, so yeah.
Schisms is one of my favorites.
Oh yeah,
because
create a table. A metal table.
Yes, yeah, the table thing. I love what I like to call mystery episodes in Star Trek where instead of like them just sort of floating up to a planet and being like, oh, here's a problem, let's deal with it. I mean, there's obviously some great episodes like that. But there's so many episodes, especially in like the original 3, where they find some sort of like the episode starts and everyone in the episode and you, the viewer, are confused. Something is happening and you start right in the middle of it and you have no idea what's happening and they have to figure it out and you have to figure it out with them. And that's one of the greatest mystery episodes ever. People are just being kidnapped. They're being surgically altered. So like Riker's, I mean, I don't know if they ever talk about that again, but I think his arm was like detached and reattached surgically at some point. It was off by 0.3 microns or something like that. So that whole episode is creepy as hell and super awesome. And again, at the end of that, it was like aliens from a pocket of subspace. That's it. Will they come back? We don't know. That was never followed up on. STO follows up on it again in such an awesome way.
So
Game
good.
Spree has a good suggestion of another good mystery episode. The one where everyone's unconscious for 24 hours and Data is suspected of
That is a good
of
one,
tampering. The lost time, right?
Yeah.
It all started with like the weird things the Crusher was growing in the
yeah,
in
like
the
she
med
had her
bay.
experiment going. And
Yeah. Oh, that was a good one. Yeah, that was when Deanna Troi was like taken over by the alien and like freaking owned Worf, right? Worf was like this. There's only a couple people on the ship that could possibly do this much damage to me, and he thought it was Data, but it was actually Troi taking over. Clues, is that the name of the episode? Oh, that was so good. It was so good. Master Liu says, I ran into LeVar Burton right before he got cast as Geordi, and he was so super excited about TNG. I was a kid, but I was thrilled to meet him. Oh my God, that is so cool.
I would love to meet LeVar Burton.
Me too. I'm a huge LeVar Burton fan. Of course, I grew up with, Butterflies in the Sky. What is it? Reading Rainbow.
Reading Rainbow.
Reading Rainbow. Super awesome. Is Saul here? I don't want to give away any information about my age. So LeVar Burton was awesome as that. And then he was also, he had just come off of Roots, right? I mean, he was he had done a lot in terms of acting right then and there. Such an awesome guy. And I think really like brought something super awesome to that role. We even talked about last week that, people initially thought that, what was the line, that he was the one who was like disrespectfully taking the role of Spock in TNG. Kind of sketch. Venwick says you'll look younger without the mustache. Yes, that's true.
Avatar. I have watched that clip
Should
of
I shave it?
LeVar Burton reading the Go the F to Sleep book. It's very good.
Oh yeah, I've seen that too.
There's Soul.
Wait, where's Soul?
He's right there. He's taking notes.
Takes notes.
Where? Oh my God, there he is.
Everywhere.
Oh no, he is here. When did he get here? I just summoned Soul.
Yes.
He talked a little bit a while ago.
Oh,
He said, "Look at these.
don't
nerds."
take notes, Soul. I don't know what reading.
I mean, to be
reading what?
fair, based on the things
Yeah, he
I
couldn't even
used to
think of the name
watch
of the
as
show.
a child, Merrick, people would think I was like 90 years old. So
That's
I mean,
true.
yeah, I was gonna say
That's true.
Jennifer's talking about like shows in the '60s as if like she was there.
and shows in the 1940s too. So
Yeah.
Yo, Master Lou says Tom Selleck called. He said that he was the only one to pull off that mustache in the 80s. Whoa. Hold on.
I think Merrick pulls off the Tom Selleck mustache pretty well, actually.
I think it's good. Don't shave it.
I have been trying, like literally, I have almost shaved it a bunch of times in the last week. I've been very surprised that most of our friends actually don't want me to shave it at this point. Even my wife, who was very against me growing it to begin with, is really protective of it at this point. Azure likes it. Soul likes it. I think I can only think of a few that say I should shave it, but I think I would be young.
Oh, that's so nice.
In the 80s, I was not alive, but for Halloween this year, I was actually thinking about becoming like an 80s cop, because I could really, if I threw some shades on.
You basically don't have to do anything.
You don't have to do
I don't have to do
anything.
anything.
You just have to put sunglasses on.
Yeah,
Right?
basically just get some aviators.
Like, I have
The
some
cheapest
aviators.
possible
You could be an undercover 80s cop. You're done.
Oh, Master says I look good. Oh, I love you, buddy. It's definitely an acquired taste. The mustache took a solid 2 months to get to a point like this. There's a lot of creepy stages along the way that don't look very good. So if I shave it, I'm afraid. Or 70s gay porn star, says Game Spree. I mean, hey, either one.
Oh, don't get the sexy cop costume.
What? Why not?
You get yourself some like short jean shorts.
I mean, isn't that what?
I think I have some.
Isn't that what? Oh my God, how did I forget his name?
This is for the
again?
OnlyFans channel, obviously.
Yeah, would you guys like to subscribe to my OnlyFans channel? Just click on the support us at Ko-Fi link at the bottom middle of the screen. Yeah, the YMCA cop, for sure. NG just linked our Discord. That is the Merrick TV Discord. That is where we stream all of our gaming stuff, by the way. We stream a lot of gaming throughout the week and have a gaming community. We also have a Star Trek Discord that Junie just linked down below also. into Star Trek. Click that.
Not
click
to
that.
interrupt, but I did update the schedule module on the actual page of the Twitch. So it now gives a link to the Star Trek Discord as well as our Star Trek Podcast YouTube channel.
You can link to Ko-Fi, Azure.
You just did.
It didn't work. Try it without the hyphen. It may not work at all. Yeah, it works.
I
Let's
helped.
go. Yeah, you did. Freddie Mercury dude, I actually have a Freddie Mercury picture. Do you remember the picture?
Oh, you do have it. Where is that? That's in the MTV
It's
gaming
somewhere.
Discord.
I will post
Somewhere.
it in Discord later.
In
where
both. You'll
I
post
look
it
like
in
Freddie
both
Mercury.
Discords.
I will.
I know I've seen it. I just don't remember where it was posted.
It was last Halloween. Actually, it was last Halloween. I grew a goatee, the very not this fully fleshed out one, only a couple weeks, but it was to do like a pirate cosplay. Remember that? And then when I shaved it, along the way of shaving it, I just shaved this first and got my first glimpse of what it looked like with a mustache. And I put on aviators, wore just like an A shirt, like an undershirt, and then made the shot black and white and took the photo, and I looked just like Freddie Mercury. It was quite a look.
Oh, Mirror Universe goatee. Yeah.
Yes, dude. Of course.
Actually, you
They're always
could
evil.
go. Why don't you go as your favorite Star Trek character, but their Mirror Universe self who doesn't have a Mirror Universe self? Is that too confusing?
That was a little confusing. Yeah.
I get what you meant.
Pick a Star Trek character who doesn't actually have a canon Mirror Universe person, and then decide to go as them.
I'm
with the mustache.
gonna shave my head and I'm gonna go as Mirror Universe EMH.
Oh my God! Please do that. That would be so good. Oh, can we have like a sub
shaving my
goal
head.
for Azure to do that?
No.
That'd be awesome.
No.
By the way, someone did join. Master Liu, welcome to the Discord, man. Appreciate you joining.
Welcome.
All right, guys, I feel like this is probably a good place to wrap up. I really want to thank everyone for coming out. I know this is the first time that we've streamed the podcast itself on MTV, on Merrick TV. We normally don't do this on Twitch. We do it on YouTube, but we kind of wanted to see what it was like tonight, see if anyone would be interested in coming in. Maybe we got a couple new people. So thank you guys for tuning in. Really appreciate this. We do the web or the podcast every single Saturday. Without fail. We do an STO group Let's Play with all three of us. We do this every week on Thursday after the Lower Decks episode watch party that we do at 7:30 that Thursday. So we do a ton of really cool things. We do the what?
Eastern time.
Eastern time. Yep, thank you. And actually, we're gonna have to come up with some new things to watch because I think this coming Thursday is the season finale.
Well, for Halloween, we're going to do the Halloween episodes.
Oh, yeah, we got lots to watch. So we have, like I said, February 16th is going to be season 3 of Picard, but in November, what was it, 28th or something? It's going to be the next chapter of Prodigy. So we'll probably be doing Prodigy as well. Avatar, thanks for the follow, man. Really appreciate that. So need to get an invite to the fleet and STO. Dude, yes, somebody grab him. Let's go. Otherwise, follow, subscribe, do all that good stuff. If you'd like to support us, the best way to do it is in the middle and the bottom there. Support us on Ko-Fi. It really makes a huge difference for us. I want to thank Venwick for being a Ko-Fi subscriber. Really appreciate that, man. Maddox was here earlier, who's also a subscriber. You guys are the very best. Come and interact, guys. We do watch parties, Let's Plays, streams, podcasts, all sorts of cool stuff. I want to thank my co-hosts again, Chief Jennifer and Science Officer Azure. Love you guys. You're the best. Thank you for doing this with me.
Yeah, super fun.
And we'll be back. I'll be back streaming on Monday, streaming Guild Wars 2. We're going to do STO and the watch party on Thursday. And then hopefully we'll see you guys again soon. All right. Love you all. Live long and prosper, guys. We'll see you next time. Bye-bye.